I think this is going to be one of the most important thing that I'm going to say in this video right now. So if you have seen my videos, if you watch my videos, you must know that I say if you understand English. Hi everyone, how are you all? Well, today we are going to discuss a very important topic, and this is something that has been requested to me a lot. You people are requesting this topic again and again, and that is, I can understand English, but why can't I speak English? A very common problem, and if you are facing, then guys, let me tell you that it's a common problem, and today we are going to discuss why this happens, why you can understand English and cannot speak it, and some of the solutions too. So understanding English and then not being able to speak English, this common issue, it arises because of certain reasons. There are root causes for this, and we need to address those root causes in order to find a solution, in order to solve this problem. So let's review, why is this happening? Why does this happen that you can understand English and you cannot speak it? First of all, if you're able to understand English, then that means you have knowledge of English. You have good knowledge of English. The problem is that you're not able to speak it. That is, you're not able to form sentences, or you feel like you're frozen. You don't know what to say. You know there are thoughts there in your mind, but you're not able to express yourself in English. And that is frustrating. I can understand that. Let's address this problem and let's begin. So the reason number one, why you can understand English but cannot speak it. First reason is, what kind of method did you have to study English while you were in school? We study English for the longest time of period in school. That is correct. Now, what kind of approach was there to English? Well, the thing is that it was subject kind of approach. Whatever you did it either in the written form, reading, or you learned grammar. So everything revolved around reading, writing, and reviewing grammar or learning grammar rules, isn't it? Your whole exam was based on such things. Reading comprehension, maybe some kind of listening comprehension thing. But speaking tasks, there were less number of speaking tasks, almost negligible. So what happened was, we had a lot to consume, but we did not speak anything. So this particular skill, speaking skill, was ignored altogether. Why? Because this was something marks oriented. So we treated it as a subject that is marks oriented rather than learning it as a language. So when we are learning a language, the most important thing about a language is to speak it, and you have less practice to speak it. You have more practice to write it or to read it. That's why you are able to understand it, because you have knowledge of English. But then not to be able to speak it. Why? Because you're not habitual of speaking it. You have less practice of speaking English. You have not been presented with the times where you are required to speak in English. That's why you don't have confidence that is required to speak in English, because this is not your mother tongue. So obviously you feel some kind of hesitation, or you feel like you're not able to speak it whenever the opportunity is presented to you now, because since the beginning, speaking opportunities were less number of opportunities. So that is one of the major reasons. This is a language. We have to address it as a language. So speaking is a very important part, and speaking practice is required in order to speak English. You need to have some confidence of doing this. When you learn cycling, you have to practice a little bit in order to become good at cycling. So it's just like that. Language is like that. When you will use it, you will become perfect at it. The more you use it, the better you become. So with the time you become fluent in this language, whatever language that you're learning. So if you take any language, speaking is must. The end goal is to communicate. So when we're talking about English language, this happens because you have not spoken it that much as compared to gaining the content. You have read, you have written it, you have gone over the grammar rules again and again, but speaking opportunities were less for you. Now, the reason number two is that I have also discussed this kind of thing in one of my recent videos that is called active vocabulary. So, you have less active vocabulary. Your active vocabulary is less. That is, active vocabulary is the vocabulary that you are comfortable in using. Active vocabulary is something that you can use while speaking. You're habitual of speaking it. Your active vocabulary is less. You have too much passive vocabulary. Now, what is passive vocabulary? Passive vocabulary is the vocabulary that is within your knowledge. When you are exposed to that vocabulary, you understand it. For example, if you listen it, you will understand. If you read it, you will understand. But when it comes to using it, you're not confident enough to use it in a sentence, or you don't use it at all. It is there in your knowledge, but not in your usage. That is your passive vocabulary, and the bank of your passive vocabulary is too much. And the bank of your active vocabulary, it's just little. That is one of the reasons, again, you are able to understand English, but you cannot speak. Because you're able to understand passive vocabulary. That's why it's passive. You're able to understand it. But when it comes to production, speaking, not able to use it. And the kind of vocabulary that you use, it is called active vocabulary. Now, because you're not able to speak English, that means your active vocabulary is less and your passive vocabulary is too much. What we can do? See, in order to do that, you have to turn your passive vocabulary into your active vocabulary. There are lots and lots of methods to do that, for which I'm going to make a separate video. So look out for that particular video. But this is one of the major problems. The vocabulary that you have right now, you need to turn that passive vocabulary into the active one in order to speak English. Now, the point number 3 is that your input is more than your output. Input learning is more than output learning. What is input learning and what is output learning? So, input learning, it means receptive tasks. That is, you are receiving the information, and output learning means you are producing that particular outcome after receiving the information. So, your input, that is reading and listening, that is okay. But your production, that is speaking and writing, especially speaking, that is less. So your input of reading and listening, those tasks, input of language is there, but the output is like it's none. There is no output or not much output. Or even if you are speaking, it is not enough. So because you have this input, you are able to understand it. You're able to understand the language because you are reading it, you are listening to it. That means you can understand the language. Excellent. Half of the work is done. 50% of the work you are doing, but the remaining 50% of the work needs to be done in order to speak English. That is speaking it. Now you have this bank of vocabulary, this bank of information with you. You're reading, you're listening to the language, but until and unless you start doing the output, start working on the output learning, you will not be able to speak English. Because you have to take that first step. You have to take the first step and start speaking it. So start doing your speaking practice. Focus on the output learning too. Don't just focus on the input learning. Don't focus only on consuming the language. You need to consume content in that particular language that you're learning. Definitely you have to. But similarly, at the same time, you need to also do the productive tasks. That is your output learning. So you need to dedicate some time to your speaking practice. Start speaking in English. That is the solution. There are lots and lots of techniques that I have discussed for you in my previous videos, like read aloud, speak to yourself, and there are so many other techniques that I have made videos on. You can go and watch those videos. Active vocabulary, I suggest you watch active vocabulary, read aloud and speak to yourself. They tell you great methods to increase your speaking capacity. Now the last reason is that you feel hesitation while speaking in English. This hesitation is a common problem. Why? Because we are not habitual of speaking in English, because this is not our mother tongue. But the thing is that we don't accept this as our own language. We have to change our mindset, and we have to accept the English language as our own. It is our official language. We use it a lot. It is language on the internet, the most commonly spoken language in the world. Then why cannot this become our own language? You need to change your mindset, and you need to accept the language as it is. You need to accept it as your own. Don't think that this is a second language I'm learning, this is not my mother tongue. Don't adopt that kind of attitude towards English, because English is a requirement in today's world. To survive, English is a requirement. And when English is the official language of your country, what is the problem? What is the problem in accepting it as your language too? So two languages can exist. Bilingualism, that is something very common these days. People, they know multiple languages. There are a lot of people. For example, I know Hindi, English, and Spanish. So I know basic level of Spanish too. That means it's okay for you to have command over two languages, and that's normal. Don't think that I have to make so much effort for learning this particular language. Do not adopt that kind of mindset. Accept it as your own and then speak it. Be comfortable with this language. The hesitation that occurs is because this is not our mother tongue, and that's why we think that this is not our mother tongue, this is some kind of foreign language, and that mindset creates so much hesitation inside us that we are not able to speak. So that mindset needs to be changed. I know it is going to be difficult for you to start speaking English in the beginning. It is going to be because since childhood you have not spoken this language. I can understand the kind of treatment that we have with our mother tongue. It is not given to you with the English language. But then start today. Any time is the right time. Start treating English as your own language from today. And then start learning it, start speaking it, start your speaking practice, become comfortable with it. If you really want, take professional help. So that is what you need to do. You need to change your mindset, and you need to start working from today to remove your hesitation to speak in English. And the practice is something that you need to do if you want to remove this hesitation. 5. Last but not the least, this is something very important. I think this is going to be one of the most important things that I'm going to say in this video right now. So if you have seen my videos, if you watch my videos, you must know that I say if you understand English, that means 50% of task is already done. You don't have to take so much stress about it. That means 50% you're done with the language. Not in fact 50%, from my side, I think 60 to 65% you are done with it. You just need to start speaking it. You need to take that first step to speak it. If you know the language, if you can understand the language, that means 65% of the work is already done. When 65% of the work is already done, then 35% of work we can do. Definitely we can do if we want. It depends on you. Your first step, your initiative. You need to take the initiative to start speaking in English, or to start your journey towards improving your speaking skills, to become fluent. It all depends on your initiative and your decision to dedicate your time for practicing, to watch my videos in the free time. You can watch my videos. There are other tutors, you can watch their videos. Watch some English learning videos so that it can help you, instead of just watching anything on internet, anything on Instagram. You can use that particular time to become more productive. It depends all on you, on your initiative. So if you understand English, congratulations, you are more than halfway there. The rest of the steps that are remaining, go, take action and start speaking. Only you can change it. So you need to take the initiative and start your English learning journey from today. So that's it for today. That was all I wanted to discuss with you. I hope now you have a clear picture on this particular concept, that you understand English but you cannot speak, why this happens, and the solutions that I have suggested. So more videos with more techniques, speaking skills related solutions and tips and pronunciation, vocabulary, your grammar, everything is going to come on the channel. So stay tuned, subscribe the channel if you haven't till now, so that you don't miss out on any important lesson. Like the video, share the video, and I'm gonna see you next time with a new topic. Till then, take care and bye.